Hello, good evening, everyone. Welcome to Futbol de Europa podcast, episode 1. Today, alongside me is Carlos, who is a long-time Real Madrid fan and has been following football since ages now. Welcome to the podcast, Carlos.
Thank you, Bliss.
How are you?
Good, how are you?
Yeah, pretty good. So, let's talk about the UEFA Champions League. And what do you think about the eliminations?
There's been like a lot of talk about the elimination of mainly of big teams,
Yeah,
but I didn't really like feel that much. I don't know. Obviously, as being a Real Madrid fan, to see the way we crashed out was pretty bad. It was pretty disheartening. But if you think of the other big teams that actually got knocked out, was Bayern and PSG. Bayern did face Liverpool, so either how there was going to be one good team was going to get knocked out either how, and Bayern was not really the favorites in this as an aging squad. PSG, as usual, is still a top heavy side that completely depends on attacking, and they were to an extent they were slightly unlucky to lose on the last penalty, which to me was not a penalty. I felt since he turned around, it should not have been a penalty. So I wouldn't really say a lot of big teams lost. I would just say the biggest team lost, and that was the biggest shock. You expected us, like Real Madrid, at least to reach to the semi-finals.
yeah, but after watching the first leg, you were kind of thinking that it could go either way. Either Real would thrash Ajax or Ajax would thrash Real. It could go either way. It was too wide and open, I guess. Wasn't it?
I felt the match was. I mean, I didn't feel like it would be wide open. I just felt that since we had lost those El Clasicos, we would come in a little more stronger, and I just expected that that the attitude of the players would change. It would be something like last year, where even though the league was lost, everything was lost. They might, and just because they have this competition left, they would show more. I didn't mind the loss as such. It was just more the effort on the pitch.
Yeah. But even the first leg which they won, that wasn't a convincing win, I guess.
Yeah, it wasn't convincing at all, but because we won that without playing convincingly, and because we completely blew out the league and the El Clasico
How much
losses.
did you miss Ramos?
Uh, I mean, obviously Ramos was missed, but I don't think if he was there we would have won.
Yeah.
I'm not really sure that if he was there we would have actually won. It was just collectively we did not play good. There was no pride in the sense.
Yeah. I guess the two early substitutions also took out the fight from the team, Vasquez and Vinicius were subbed out at 20th minute, I guess.
Yeah,
Around
both were
20th
injured.
minute, yeah, so that was a big blow to them.
Hmm.
And Spurs versus Dortmund. That was an interesting game.
That was a very, very good game for Spurs, especially. I think the only time before this that they reached the quarterfinals was when they played us
Yeah.
in Mourinho's last season, and I think Bale was still there in Spurs at that time. Yes,
Yeah,
because the year after that, after Mourinho left, we bought him, right?
Yeah.
So yes, that was exactly the previous round against Inter when he scored the hat trick, right? So it's been like what, 5 years, 6 years.
It's interesting that when I was watching Real versus Ajax, I was thinking that Bale might produce the similar moment as he did against Inter. Maybe he comes out and scores 3 goals out of nowhere, 2 in the extra time. Who knows? Anyway, so Atletico versus Juve.
Oh, that was. I honestly I did feel that there would be a big performance from Cristiano. I really did feel it before the game, but I don't like. He completely deserves all the credit that he got. He was fantastic in that game.
True.
But unfortunately, it was horrible watching Atletico. They were they did not play at all. Like Simeone and Atletico Madrid has reached their peak. Like now they need to part ways and look for something new, both of them.
Yeah.
And I understand that you're a defensive team and you're looking to stay back and try to just knock headers off.
Yeah.
But okay, Godin and Jimenez can do that. Great, all that is great. But did you really have to let in all those number of crosses? You could at least try to stop a few crosses. That too against like the biggest, the most versatile header in the in football. And that also they had Mandzukic also. So they had good target men, and I don't know. It was just the wrong strategy from day one, from minute one.
Yeah, what I felt was that they were playing they were playing with the loss of fearing. They were fearing that they would be defeated by Juve. They weren't going out to outscore Juve. They weren't going out to win the game. They were trying to defend the first leg score. I guess that was in their mentality.
Yeah, I didn't mind in the beginning. Like, if you started like that, it was fine. I don't have a problem. Okay, but now you're 1-0 down. Like, you have nothing to lose. If you score one, they need to score three.
Yeah.
If they score one more, and you score one, again, they need to score more. So, I felt after they were a goal down, they should have changed the tactics. But even after the second goal down, they did not change. They were just waiting for penalties.
That's what happens when you allow the other team to implement their style of play. And that's what happened with other teams as well who got knocked out.
You need to give credit to Allegri also. He was smart in his substitutions. He tried to win it in normal time. He brought in Keane, who had a good game in the league before. I think he scored like 2 goals or something in his first start. And then he brought in Dybala also. So he really did try to win it in 90 minutes, and they did.
They did, yeah. And City versus Schalke, that was an interesting scoreline.
That was a cricket scoreline. I liked the tweet. I think it was from Lineker who tweeted that that Theresa May would it's become
defeated more.
Yeah. So that I think the original tweet by Lineker was that this is a bigger margin of loss than Theresa May lost for her
like
political thing, and then Schalke replied saying, did you try defending against Leroy Sané? That was pretty nice. And basically that tweet kind of summed up the whole thing. It was like a horrible night for them. Horrible night for entire Bundesliga.
Yeah. Coming to Bundesliga, even Bayern Munich couldn't save their pride against.
Yeah, it's an aging squad. It's like they should have started changing their squad this year. They chose not to. They're waiting for next year. I think they've already signed Pavard. They are following Hudson-Odoi. So they're definitely looking to like completely liven up their squad with younger players. But yeah, they again Kovac. It kind of reminded me a little bit of the Bayern semi-final which we lost under Mourinho. Where we were very defensive after they scored the goal. Here also they played very, very defensively. I think they had 2 shots on target or none across 180 minutes, something like that. But yeah, they were very poor. They let Liverpool do like what they can do, and it was not an extraordinary Liverpool performance. Also, it was just about goodish, and Mane did the thing, but it was. Like, it was very poor from their level. It's like they give too much respect to Liverpool and they were too scared about themselves.
Yeah, I remember Lewandowski was speaking that we went into the game defending rather than attacking, and I don't know why we did that. So I guess it reflects that Kovac will be
sacked,
replaced by Jose.
I'm not. Kovac is I remember somebody mentioning this. Kovac is the poor man's Jose Mourinho. Might as well go with the real guy if they want to. I'm not sure what the strategy is. In Jose's case also it's different because he's not coming in the best of times. I mean, compared to his Manchester United reign, and I don't know how much. I don't think so. Bayern have the muscle power to like flex out 300 odd million and revamp the squad, and I don't think so. I'm not sure if that's what Mourinho wants to do right now. But somehow they managed to salvage the season on the league thanks to Dortmund. I mean, I thought they would lose, they would go trophyless.
Yeah, we'll talk about that later on. So, talking about English Premier League, now all the 4 teams of English Premier League are into the quarterfinals of Champions League, and that's happened after 2009. So, is it a reviving
2009?
Moment? Yeah,
okay.
It's a long time. It was LaLiga all along. Now LaLiga have only Barcelona in their quarterfinals. So
yeah,
even in Europa League, 2 of the teams are into the quarterfinals: Arsenal and Chelsea.
So they have basically all 6. The top 6 is still alive.
Yep.
In Europe.
Yep. That's
Yeah,
pretty much it.
that's pretty much it. Okay. In terms of UCL, I mean, Man City and Liverpool were like, if you at the start of the UCL, you did consider them as quarterfinalists at least, because they both like Man City is already a really good squad, and Liverpool strengthened incredibly. Like I said, on the Manchester United front, I think they were lucky to. I mean, they did play good, and PSG also bottled a little bit, but they were eventually. I felt a little bit lucky to reach there, and Spurs. Or what can I tell you? Dortmund was horrible, so they managed. So I wouldn't say it's. I don't think so. It's too early to say whether there is going to be an EPL dominance in UCL, or it was just that some draw influenced them.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. So, who do you think will lift the Champions League this time?
I was looking at the draw that happened, and now it's a new format, right? Because once you draw for the quarterfinal, you know what the route is till the final.
Yep.
So I found if you imagine like in the quarterfinals, say all the favorites go through, which is Barca, City, Juve, and Liverpool. There are three potentially very good finals. So the first potential good final could be Man City versus Liverpool, which would be fantastic because they're already like logging heads for the EPL title. So I'm sure one of them would have lost, and then this is left. So it'll be something like the Manchester United Chelsea in 2006. The other one would be Juventus versus Barcelona. It would be the first time Ronaldo and Messi are facing in a final. Would have been better if he was in a Real Madrid shirt.
Yeah, but they have faced each other in the Copa del Rey, I guess.
Yeah, but in the
Ronaldo
UCL final is it's a different stage altogether. And I don't think so. Since that first Mourinho season, they've actually faced each other in UCL, where in the first year,
Yeah.
So in the finals, it'll be great. But the most intriguing one for me would be City versus Barcelona. It'll be like Pep taking his new monster to the old monster that he created. It'll be like, I think for Kool, it'll be like a wet dream. Whoever wins, they won. They don't care, and it'll be fun. It'll be really funny if actually like Pep City beats Barca.
And Pep will have a strong defense that I won the Champions League without Messi against Messi.
Yes.
Yeah, it will prove him as a better coach, I guess, if he isn't already.
Yeah, I think so. I think if he wins the Champions League with Man City, like in the say next 2 years, even if not this year, I think he enters into the GOAT manager debate.
He already is, I guess. He already is.
Greatest of all time depends on a lot of factors, but he definitely enters the debate for me.
Yep, that's true. For me, it would be either Ajax or Spurs to lift the UCL title because I just want some underdog to lift it. It's even Porto. I'd be happy. Let Porto win it. Everyone will be happy.
Like an
Even
underdog
Leicester-
story.
Yeah, underdog story. It will be like Leicester winning Premier League.
Yeah.
Something like that. But that would be interesting if Spurs win it. No title in the entire history, and straight away they win the UCL.
They've never won a title, like
Never
even
won
years.
a title.
Not even one.
Not even one.
Oh, okay.
That's why Jose was saying that it's very bad to lose against Spurs because they make DVDs out of it. So yeah.
Okay.
So that's probably the only accomplishment right now, and that's what they have talked about.
So yeah, that's an interesting scenario. I did not thought about it, but yeah,
And
from
I
no
think
title.
Pochettino deserves it. Pochettino really deserves a title.
Yeah, he
And
does.
Champions League would be a fantastic way to honor him if they can manage to win against Barcelona.
You think if he wins the UCL, you think Manchester United will?
Oh, sorry. United is against Barcelona. Spurs is against.
Yeah, I mean, but I'm saying in case he does win it, like if he finally does win the UCL, do you think Man United will appoint him in place of
I
Solskjaer?
don't think United will ever let Ole go because you see Mourinho once said in an interview that you don't need a competent manager, you need a lucky manager, and that's what the scenario is right now. And I guess Ole Gunnar Solskjaer brings a lot of values to the club, and he has been a former legend. Here's my theory: like a lot of clubs go for the former players or former legends for their managerial post because it is like the players respect them or the fans are a bit more patient, I guess. If Giggs comes to United and he manages it, I bet the fans will allow him more time and will not criticize him as they criticized Moyes or Louis Van Gaal or Mourinho, they will be more patient. And similar to what happened under Zidane, like yes, they were asking for Zidane's resignation also after the 17-18 horrible La Liga season, but they were still hoping for the UCL title. They were still not as angry as they were with Benitez, I guess, because even they finished with 75 or 76 points in La Liga that season, and that was the worst ever, I guess. Yeah,
I get your point, because I think in the beginning when Zidane came, he lost only 2 matches in the beginning. One was the Wolfsburg match, 2-0, and the other one was the Atletico Madrid match, I think. And then from there he had that peak where he won literally everything in that season, all the league matches, and then finally won the UCL. But at that point of time, the pressure on him was far much lesser, like official media pressure. Maybe because he came in mid-season, he had nothing to lose as such, and there was no expectations from him at that point of time. But yeah, generally I get your point. And generally, if you think in big squads, because I think you were telling there's a difference between the type of coaches that players like. So I believe very tactically oriented coaches, whether attacking tactically or defensively tactics, whatever tactics that you use, but basically a coach was a very hard and fast philosophy which he follows by. That works best with younger players, players who have tasted very little success, and it works very good if the coach has some success on his end, because then they believe that what he says is right and he can help me win a title. And at that point of time, maybe they, as a player, because they are more younger and they have not won much, they have less maybe arrogance and they're ready to listen more. But as they win more and more titles, they may not want to listen or change the strategy to a new coach, or play a particular type of tactics, because they feel that they are already good enough, and if the coach should just let them play the way they want. So that's where I think for bigger teams, maybe a man manager who's decent in tactics can do the trick. Something like what Oleg is doing, and maybe like what Zidane had done.
Yeah, that's kind of interesting, because I was thinking about Barcelona and Valverde. It's an interesting matchup because Valverde isn't that beautiful football type of coach for Barcelona, and still the players back him up, because I guess players after reaching a certain point in their career, they want a manager who is good at talking, he's good at motivating them, but not drills them through the routine of repetitive tactical structures and all that, like Pep Guardiola did or Jose Mourinho does. And one of the reasons, I guess, why Jose Mourinho failed at United, I won't call it a failure, because he still won 3 trophies and brought them to second number and gave them a place in Champions League, and still managed to get them to the knockout stages and all that. But not winning a Premier League was kind of thought as Jose's failure with United, and that's not really because he's outdated or his tactics are outdated. I guess he just needs a squad which would die for him, and a board which would back him up, like Inter Milan or Porto, or even at Real Madrid in the second season, before the Iker and Jose rift, which was after the El Clasico, about the rumors that who leaked the information to the... But it's interesting that information is still leaked out,
Information is always...
Even before the board meeting, Jose Pedrerol was announcing that Zidane is the new coach. So someone is leaking out the information even now. So maybe it wasn't Iker and his girlfriend.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Isco is now getting the stick. That Isco is letting out the information.
Yeah, that was apparently the beef between him and Solari.
Yeah, Solari actually, they had a couple of sequences. First, it was like Isco mocked him in the training and said, this is not the right way to train. We have to train for passing the ball or scoring or something like that. And after that, he got disciplinary actions. And then he was criticized for gaining much weight. And even Marcelo got the stick for that. So
Isco, I think, responded on Instagram showing his abs.
The abs.
Do I look fat? Yes or no? Yeah, okay.
So, yep. That's pretty much the new generation. So coming to La Liga, it's been a terrible season for La Liga teams, I guess.
Except Barcelona. Actually, for Barcelona also, it's been a bad season, but they've been overshadowed by the fact how poor Real Madrid has been, that they've been winning. They've not been playing particularly great. Coutinho's not doing that well. Dembele is playing good, but he has had his own share of disciplinary issues. They're still more or less reliant on Messi's brilliance, and Arthur doing well in midfield. And somebody who's very underrated probably right now is Ter Stegen. He's phenomenal as a goalkeeper. Probably I would rate him right now the best, probably, I would say. Right, currently on form, I would say he's probably the best goalkeeper in the world right now.
That's true. He's easily in top 3 right now. Oblak, Ter Stegen and De Gea. It's interesting how Neuer is out of conversation all of a sudden.
Oh, Neuer's that coming out and Mane scoring against him was like that's the that's when you have to retire. That's like his call to retire.
Neuer hasn't ever been the same after the injury.
Yeah.
Yeah, even in the World Cup he was poor. I feel sad for Ter Stegen because he deserved his spot ahead.
Yeah.
Neuer, but I don't know why they did not trust him. So it's interesting. Sevilla have sacked Martin.
I did not know that.
Unless I told you.
Yeah. So that's.
What are your
but
thoughts
that's.
about that?
I mean, they were pretty poor in the Europa League to lose, that, and they were reigning champions for quite some time also.
Yeah.
I mean, not recently, but I mean.
They won like 3 consecutive times.
Yeah. So they've been doing really well in that competition. To lose like that, they're not doing that great also in the league, I think.
When I saw the first leg of Sevilla versus Real Madrid earlier in the season and the way Martin dismantled Lopetegui's Real Madrid, I was thinking that maybe this is the manager who can create a ruckus if he is given a great score. And I was thinking, why don't Real Madrid go for him? What are your thoughts about that?
I haven't. Martin hasn't done great. I mean, he's up and down with Sevilla. So I was take Lopetegui for example. Okay, he's a great tactical coach. I was just thinking like what probably did fail for him. So normally when people talk about Lopetegui, they only talk about the last 6 matches.
Yeah.
The one where he lost all 6, scored no goals and conceded, I don't know, like 18 goals or something like that. So that's all that they talk about. But actually, there was a 6 match before that where he was actually very good. I think we were joint top in the league at that point of time. And actually we were first, I believe, on goal difference. We were scoring fairly decent amount of goals, 2-3 goals. I mean, almost 2-3 goals per game, and we were not conceding much. So he didn't suddenly become bad, nor did the team suddenly become bad. What I felt was he's a very tactical oriented coach, but when the team started to fail, he did not have the personality to bring the team up, and I think he kind of decided or went the bad Zidane route, where he put full trust onto his first 11, and he played the star first 11. At that point of time, I don't think so Modric should have played, because Ceballos at that point of time under him was the best player. And during those 6 matches, Ceballos did not even walk into the team, which was, I found it very weird, because he kind of let down his guard and he did not do what he does best. Something I found that very similar to the bad aspects of Rafa Benitez and Zidane both was there. Zidane's bad aspect in his last season was he continuously trusted the first 11 in the first 6 months when they were heavily underperforming. Especially Cruz, Marcelo, Ronaldo, I think 2 goals in the first 6 months or something like that. So he still continued to play them. I mean, eventually they did get back to form, but he still continued to play them. And the same thing Lopetegui did during the 6-game phase. And apart from that, he completely stopped doing his tactics. Like, he did not play Ceballos, who was ideal for these matches. On top of that, that reminded me a little bit of Rafa Benitez, because when Rafa Benitez, there's a lot of pressure under him to play James. He went in the El Clasico with Modric, James, and Cruz. Like, in my lifetime, I've never seen Rafa Benitez play without a defensive midfielder. He sometimes plays with 2. Normally he plays with 2, and for the first time in El Clasico of all matches, he decided to play with no defensive midfielder, just because there's a lot of pressure on him. So I feel they don't.
The invention of 5-5 formation.
Yeah, I think so. He has that. So I think maybe it's not enough to be good tactically. Times you need to have that, that kind of personality to take the crowd, to take the pressure, and to lift the pressure off the players also.
Yeah.
So I think that's where we lost. So I felt like I remember saying this, that even though Zidane is not probably the most renowned tactical coach, it is difficult to get a better coach than him, because there's probably nobody better than him as a man manager.
Yep, that's true.
So to get that combination of both, I felt was very difficult. And now I realize it's not just a combination of both. You also need somebody with a good personality also. So that was the challenge that we had. And obviously our solution was to go back to Zidane.
Yeah. Would you have preferred Jose ahead of Zidane?
I don't know. I'm not. See, if you leave the Jose part alone and think just about Zidane, I was very shocked that he came back, because what changed in 6 months? It's 6 months ago, or maybe 9 months ago, you felt that you could not lead this team to victory in any other title in future. Basically, that's what you felt. You felt that you were not the right man to bring this team forward. It needed a different direction.
Yeah.
And since then, we've gone downhill. Pretty much what you kind of alluded to happened. You lost your star talisman striker. So what changed in 9 months? Why are you back? What did you see that changed? So, in his press conference where he said that, it was just one call and it did take a lot to convince me and all that. I did not believe all that, because all the reports were saying that from Thursday, Real Madrid called him, and I think he was announced on Monday. So he did take a lot of time. I will know why he chose this job, or why he chose to come back only probably in the summer, when we see what the transfer market is and what happens then, and what sort of team takes into shape. So I found that part about very weird. So if you remove that into the equation, if you look at any coach that we had at that point of time, every coach had their own baggage, I would say. Jose Mourinho obviously has his past baggage, both positive and negative. Conte was available, but clearly the players did not want him. I'm not sure his system is suited for us. To be fair, neither is Jose Mourinho's system. And that basically, I did not see us paying 40 million to get Pochettino, the buyout clause for him, whatever. Even if we did not hire anyone right now, probably, let's say at the end of season, maybe, because I don't think so we would get somebody who's in a contract. Possible two coaches who could have been sacked would be Allegri and Sarri, and I don't think so even they completely fit our mold. Maybe Allegri, but I'm not that sure. So I just did not feel that any particular coach would solve our problem, and maybe they felt it's best to go with the person who had success with us most recently. So I can see why we chose Zidane. I don't know why Zidane chose us.
There were reports that Zidane was convinced by Perez that all his demands will be fulfilled, and earlier that was not the case.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, because he portrayed a very it's a very emotional decision based on which he came back, and the team needed his help. But he's not that kind of a person. If you think about it, he didn't decide to leave that point of time just out of emotions. It was a well thought out decision. It reminded me a little bit of how he came back to the French national squad.
Yeah.
It took a lot of convincing at that point of time, and he had at that point of time his demands that he wanted his core players, Makelele, Thuram, and some other players, I can't remember the names. All of them had to come back. So he did get them back, and I'm going to assume that there is some sort of demands like that, but what it is, I don't know, and I'm just waiting to know what it is.
Maybe he has figured out a way, because I don't think Zidane will ever accept a job where he isn't sure that he is going to solve something.
Yeah, that's what I feel. At least he should.
Especially after winning so much.
At least he should have the confidence that okay, if I come, something will happen. It doesn't have to work exactly like that, but at least he should feel it.
But I guess he has something figured out.
Probably,
So,
I'm not sure.
We'll get to know it tonight as Celta Vigo plays Real Madrid, and by the time you hear the podcast, the match will be over. But yeah. So
hoping.
Let's move on to.
You have prediction for this match?
My prediction for this match is Celta Vigo has been quite poor, so Real Madrid thrashed them 6-0 or something. That's what happens under Zidane.
I think it'll be a win, maybe a 2-0, 3-0 win. I think we will see Isco in this match.
Yeah, Isco and even Navas and even Marcelo and maybe Mariano may feature.
Yeah.
Might feature.
Yeah.
So, moving on. Who do you think Real Madrid will probably sign or let them go?
I think Bale will go.
It's interesting. Today only the agent of Bale was speaking that he is willing to stay in Real Madrid if Zidane wants him. And he said that Bale, if played in a certain way for 10 straight games, he will emerge as the world's best player alongside Cristiano Ronaldo.
But I mean, that's partly even his fault. He does not remain fit for 10 straight games.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
So I don't think Zidane wants him. I'm not sure he fits in. Uh, and I think he will go. I think there's a market for him. There might be somebody in EPL who might take him, might take a risk on him, I would say, to be fair.
Spurs.
I don't. The problem with Bale right now is it depends on how much he wants to play. Like, if he wants to play so much that he's ready to sacrifice on a salary. I can understand why he wants to stay in Real Madrid, because there are not a lot of clubs who can offer him the same kind of deal. I was hoping if the Chelsea ban gets lifted, maybe a Hazard Bale swap would be a good idea.
Yeah.
Or maybe I don't know what the PSG situation is in terms of the financial fair play. Maybe Neymar. Maybe you can convince for a Neymar or an Mbappe swap. I prefer Mbappe, but I don't think so. They will swap Mbappe for Bale, considering the age and everything. Or even if they swap, we'll have to give cash for sure. Even for Neymar, I expect us to give cash anyhow. But I think Neymar is more likely because he's more older, and I don't think so he'll win the Champions League there.
There were reports linking Gareth Bale to Inter Milan, and maybe Cardi comes to Madrid, something like that.
But I don't think so. Even they have the financial clout to pay him
They
wages.
will be bought by some other Chinese billionaire by then. Anyway, so how about Ceballos? Does he stay or does he go away?
Oh, Ceballos, I felt, was very unlucky. He started the season really, really well.
Yeah.
Then Lopetegui got scared and did not play him.
Yeah.
Solari.
Remember, he said that if Zidane would have been the coach of Real Madrid right now, I wouldn't have been here. So
Yeah.
that's a tricky part.
Yeah, so
But
So-
he's done it sufficient enough of work to prove himself.
yeah,
He is
that's what I
worthy
felt.
of Real
I
Madrid.
felt he's very unlucky
Yeah.
because this happened, like I said, Lopetegui stopped playing him. Solari also did not play him. And now Zidane comes in. So I don't know whether Zidane will play him. But yes, Modric needs to at least be rotated next season
Yeah.
more frequently. So yeah, I think he needs to play. He needs to play, and I think Zidane should trust him.
That's true. That's true. And how about Mariano, Vallejo,
Vallejo is gone because
Kovacic, James?
Vallejo,
On the loan.
Vallejo is gone, maybe on a loan, not permanent. Most probably on a loan because we bought Militao. Kovacic has to come back considering Chelsea's current situation. I think Zidane can convince Kovacic to stay because Zidane did play him in important games and did play him. Like
Yeah, but what I
compared.
felt was that Kovacic has some coldness in his heart against Real Madrid right now. He isn't really talking very warmly about Real Madrid like James is.
Yeah. But first of all, just from a player perspective, the most, I would say, disappointing thing for me when the initial deal happened where he went on loan, I was very happy about it. I felt he would thrive under Sarri. He's a Sarri type player. He would play really well under Sarri. But obviously that did not happen. He's not like horrible under Sarri, but he's nothing like what I thought he would be. So I'm not really sure like what Zidane can bring out of him. Then, like you said, I'm not sure if he wants to come back, but he definitely has to return. I don't think so. Chelsea can keep him. So I'm not. I don't. It would be nice to have Kovacic because we need that position. But then we're also being linked to Eriksen. So if Eriksen comes, Kovacic would definitely leave, I think. And I don't think so James will come back. Since Kovac is also not likely to be the coach for Bayern Munich, there's an open door for him in Bayern. Whoever is the new coach might want him. I personally would like James back because I think we will solve our right wing problem.
Yeah, possible.
If he wants to play a 4-3-3, especially if Bale is not there, I think he'll solve a right wing problem. We could have Isco on the left, or Hazard, or Vinicius, or whatever. So there's that option.
Yeah, but James mostly prefers the central attacking midfielder role, and I don't know if many of the teams will offer that now.
Yeah,
Because
that
it's
role
an
is
outdated role.
outdated position only. I was thinking,
outdated position. Yeah, that's true.
but yeah, his skill set would suit as a right winger for us right now.
Yeah, that's true. So moving on to the youngsters, Rodrigo, Vinicius, Reguilon, Odriozola, Llorente, Asensio. Do you think all these players will stay under Zidane or will get some minutes or eventually will be sold out or loaned out?
I think some of them will probably be loaned. I think there'll have to be a direct decision made between Rodrigo and Mariano. As in, I don't think so. Both can stay in the squad, especially if you're getting a new number 9. Or with Zidane, you never know. He might just play Benzema.
Yeah.
So I don't think either of them will be starting a starting number 9. So, and I don't think so. Both of them will be ready to be a backup. It's possible. I think Rodrigo could go on loan. I don't think so. They'll play him under Castilla. Maybe he would go on loan. I don't know for his development, or he might stay. I'm not sure. But I don't think they both will stay. So one of them will go. Llorente, I think, is the most unluckiest player that we had this season. He was playing wonderfully well.
Yeah.
I think that Lopetegui made a mistake by not playing him during his reign, even when he was winning or losing. Solari played him a lot when we were winning. And even though I'm not a big fan of Solari's tactics and whatever happened, I think a big part of why we lost all that El Clasico and everything has got to do with Llorente. His presence in midfield would have helped. I'm not saying we would have won, but I still think it would have helped. He has not been played at all by Zidane, so I don't know. And he loves Casemiro.
Yeah.
Zidane loves Casemiro, so I don't know. This has to be like Zidane must have at least mentally accepted that he cannot play the same squad, unless he's at least
Possibly.
mentally accepted that, okay, I need to give the new kids a try, and maybe I won't be initially winning anything,
Yeah.
something like that. I mean, I don't know.
Maybe this time of the season is very good for Zidane to analyze who is the player he has in his plans. Like, he can play the youngsters and see if any of the youngsters will be a part of his plan in the next season. Anyway, moving on to Barcelona. So Valverde and his ideology is definitely not accepted by Culés, and they definitely want him sacked, but that's not the case with their players. The players love him, and I can understand why they love him. They are still winning, and everything seems to go pretty good. So a treble coming in the way.
Treble is possible. I think it's kind of funny because since Real Madrid lost, it opens up the Champions League for people because we won it 3 times. There's a psychological advantage that teams would have. But because Cristiano is in UA and he had obviously a big part in the success, I'm not sure how they'll see it. I think I expect them to get out of the quarterfinals this time, at least this time. And I don't think so they'll be worried too much about the treble. Because they already have 2 in the bag. They definitely have the league in the bag as far as I'm concerned. And I don't think so Valencia would upset them in the CDR finals. So I think Valverde will try to ease the pressure of them in terms of the Champions League and make them look at it as one game at a time. And probably they would have, they would really believe this would happen only once it reaches the semi-final. So I don't think they're worried about the treble right now. Possible, yes. Funnily, the biggest competitors would be Juventus. No, they lost the cup, right?
Yeah.
So okay. So yeah, I think it's possible.
It is possible.
The funny thing is, there is a possibility of Barcelona treble versus Man City quadruple. So
That's an interesting scenario.
yeah, that'd be a nice ending to the Champions League final if there was like a treble and a quadruple online with Pep.
Yeah. You'd definitely be backing City at that moment, I guess.
I love the way how City is playing. I like what he's done with the
No,
kids.
as a Madridista, you wouldn't
Yeah, that's
want to have Barca 3 trebles to please you
that's
every
there.
day.
That's there.
Yeah.
I didn't even think of that. That's there. Yeah.
Yeah. You have to think about that. And do you think Coutinho is the best player of Barcelona this season? Of
No.
course, I'm adding sarcasm right now.
No, obviously not. I think Coutinho also has the same that number 10 problem.
Yeah.
That position is non-existent.
Should he go back to Liverpool?
No, you know, where would he play in Liverpool? Like, he's not going to replace anybody of the front 3 right now. They're in good form. They have a good chemistry between them. I don't think they will change the formation for the way Klopp plays. He
So
needs
where
an extra
does-
midfielder.
Where does the future of Coutinho lie? reply because I don't see him in Barcelona for a long time now.
I think Coutinho will stay for some more time because I feel that Barcelona will struggle to replace Suarez because there's no Barcelona-esque 9 easily available right now. So I feel that there's a possibility that you will see Messi play as a false 9 or go more deeper, and then you will still have Coutinho and maybe Dembele or somebody on the wings. And I think when that happens, Coutinho will have more space. Right now, I feel he kind of hinders into Messi's zone. He comes into the spaces that Messi normally would be there, and so he kind of doesn't gel with the team properly. I don't think so he'll be sold. Also, I don't think he'll be sold on cheap, so I don't think so anybody will buy him.
Yeah,
And then he really wanted to go to Barca, so I think he'll spend a fair amount of time over there to become a success. And there's the same story with him in Liverpool. He took a long time to actually become, Coutinho that Barcelona wanted.
Yeah. Plus, I guess it's not fair to judge him on one season. Maybe it takes time to adapt to a new league, new team, and teammates like Suarez, Messi, Piqué, all the big names of the world of football.
I think he will shift once De Jong, Arthur, and then once Rakitic starts to be rotated, I think he might play in midfield also more. It's possible.
It's crazy how Rakitic plays every single game. Like, he's the least rotated player in the world, I guess, and he's the...
But I think eventually he will have to be, and he's probably one of the most underrated midfielders right now.
He is. I agree with Jose when he said that he's probably the best midfielder on the earth right now.
Who doesn't have an Instagram account?
He needs to update his Instagram account, his social activity. Maybe Pogba can teach him some lessons. Anyway, so talking about Dembele, I think he's the new Paulinho. Not in the terms of play or something, but like the way he rescues Barcelona after every game, and he just scores the goal. And I don't know if you take out Dembele's goal, I don't think Barcelona is leading.
I don't know because
Atletico is close enough. If you don't look at from the Real Madrid perspective.
Dembele is a very funny player, very funny season. He's losing. He's had a lot of issues, disciplinary issues. Yet, it's funny how you see that this fellow is going to get suspended. He's going to get fined, and he comes and scores a goal, like a last-minute goal.
He reminds me of Ronaldinho actually, because he was a similar kind of player who had some issues with his discipline, who did not like to attend trainings or would arrive late or something like that, and still he would just go out and perform somehow and get the result for the team. And I don't know, Barcelona has some chemistry with these kind of players who go out there and get the result somehow.
He's injured now for the next 1 month though, so it'll be interesting.
I don't see any such player playing for Real Madrid and getting away with it, because
that's right. Robinho, he was sent out. Cassano.
Because Real Madrid is too much about professionalism. Even if the player is good or he is super talented or something, if you have disciplinary issues, if you are not professional enough, you cannot play in Real Madrid, I guess. And same with Bayern Munich and other such clubs. But clubs like Barcelona somehow allow these players to make some mistakes, allow these players to be themselves, and then I guess it works in their favor.
I think in Ronaldinho's case, because he was so good, there was no bad. They were ready to take the bad with the good, the great good that comes with Ronaldinho at that point of time. And with Dembele, I think with the amount of money that they spend for him, if they sell him, it would be it would be like they ruined a big investment on this player. So I think they want to give him more chances, and they are hoping that the senior players in Barcelona will bring him up to the core.
I just recall that who was sold to Borussia Dortmund by Barcelona?
Alcácer.
Alcácer, yeah. Why can't he replace Suarez?
But Alcácer doesn't even start for Dortmund.
Yeah, but he was great for Dortmund in some games.
He still. I'm saying I don't think he'll be a starting number 9. I don't see it.
Yeah, but maybe he can be something like Paulinho or Dembele for Barcelona. Who knows? Talking about Malcolm, how do you think Malcolm is?
He should have just gone to Roma. I just felt I didn't understand why they bought him, because they already had.
Maybe they bought him for the goal against Real Madrid.
I still don't. I don't get it, because they have Dembele, They have Coutinho. And really, Malcolm is not going to play. He should have gone to Roma.
He will, I guess.
Hmm.
He will.
I think that bridge is burnt. I don't think he's going to go to Roma. Maybe some other club.
Yeah, it's interesting to see how both the La Liga giants have reformed their clubs. Like, De Jong is come, Arthur is already playing at a phenomenal level. He's already the next Xavi, as people say.
They have already, like, if
Sorted out a lot of problems in their lineup.
for the next 10 years,
for
I
the
would say.
next 10 years.
Yeah.
And even Real Madrid, I guess, because you have Odriozola, you have Reguilon, you have Javi Sanchez waiting in the academy, you have Lorente, you have Ceballos, you have Kovacic, James. Like, you have the whole world except a good, decent striker.
Mm.
But
But
even Benzema is great, but he's not that poacher kind of a person. You need to play Benzema alongside someone who has that thirst for the goals like Cristiano had, or someone like Icardi,
Vinicius who
Yeah.
can finish.
Vinicius or something. Yeah,
Benzema with a Vinicius who can finish.
yeah, that's Rodrigo, I guess.
Hmm.
Yeah, because I guess Rodrigo will be the star signing for Real Madrid. I guess he will outshine Vinicius.
I feel from I'm not.
Because I don't think Madrid is appreciate enough the Brazilian talent. They maybe write him off due to age, maybe due to the league which he plays in, or maybe some other reasons. They even wrote off Vinicius when he was signed, but turns out Vinicius was the best player for Real Madrid this season. And it's interesting how they accept Mbappe as a great player, but they don't accept Vinicius or Rodrigo as such. Because I understand they have not proved themselves in the league or in any certain competition, but they're right up there. They're right.
But it's a stretch to go from Mbappe to Vinicius or Rodrigo because Mbappe had.
Yeah, he's won the World Cup, of course, but he plays in a league for some certain years. He has been playing there for a long time. He was there with Monaco, now he's there with PSG. He has adapted himself over there. He has developed himself with big players and all that. And on the other hand, you have two Brazilian young talented guys who moved from Brazilian league to Real Madrid, Castilla, now straight to the first team. Like, it's so on and off. If you put yourself in Vinicius' shoes, one day you are playing for your Santos. He was from Santos.
I don't remember.
Yeah, he was from Santos, I guess. And then he comes to Real Madrid, and then he's like, okay, we will develop you further. We won't put pressure on you. You go into the Castilla, and then Castilla side is even.
He should not have been taken to Castilla because Castilla was a level.
Yeah, because Santos is a level up than Castilla, to be honest.
Yeah, exactly.
And then all of a sudden he's like, okay, you are the rescue guy. Come on, score a goal. You are subbed down for 3 minutes. Come on, do something, Vinicius. Come on. And he's actually trying it. He's doing it. And I guess we are a bit hard on him. If we allow him the time, if he has the same comfort as Mbappe has or as Dembele has, I guess he will be up there. And even Rodrigo.
I think Rodrigo will not start because of Zidane's love for Benzema, and I think we will also target at least Mbappe this season. So I'm not really sure whether he would start.
Yeah.
But I agree that from what very little I've seen, I've seen only Rodrigo on YouTube videos, and again that's not a very good sample size or a good medium to say. But in the videos that I've seen, I did feel he was better than Vinicius when I saw it last year. I haven't seen any recent ones, but yeah, I've always felt that he was the better, the better potential than Vinicius.
Yeah, that's true. That's the common faith in Brazilian people as well for the future of Brazilian national 11.
Hmm.
It's funny how Real Madrid has signed half the Brazilian squad right now. Marcelo, Casemiro, Vinicius, Rodrigo, Vinicius, and who else? That's it.
That's it, yeah.
Yeah,
Normally we have more Brazilians, no? Don't we? No.
that's pretty good number of Brazilian targets. You don't need more Brazilians. And coming to Bundesliga, Dortmund have bottled it in Champions League and in Bundesliga, and
I think Bundesliga they still have a chance because I think they're still very close by or it's on goal difference. But it was shocking, yeah. I mean, Bayern were horrible this season, and still, they're back into it. It reminded me of Serie A last year, where first Inter bottled then Napoli bottled, and then Juventus won. I mean, it's
Yeah.
not enough that one team bottles, two different teams bottle so that the main team wins over there. So, considering that Bayern is so poor, Dortmund should have pounced. But I guess it's a very youthful side, and
Maybe they have that pressure on, oh, we are really close to winning it. Now we don't need to bottle it. We don't have to bottle it. We can't bottle it. They bottle it.
yeah. So basically,
And they don't have that fear. They can freely perform. Okay, we are just winning this game, and let's see. We are not winning the league, of course, and we are just playing to express ourselves and just prove ourselves out there.
right.
When
I think
they have
only
that pressure of winning the league or something, or when they can see it's in their hands, like they were 9 points clear Dortmund, ahead of Bayern, and yeah, it's pretty much the case of pressure catching up, I guess.
they have only, I think, Raus and Gotze probably have won titles before. Not a lot of other players,
Yeah.
so they don't have that.
They also won because of
He had a very good season that time. That's how Bayern won.
but he won with Bayern, I guess, not with Dortmund.
Didn't he won?
Have he won?
No,
Has
he won.
with Dortmund.
I think so. He won with Dortmund with under Klopp.
Yep, under Klopp. Yep.
Yeah.
That's true.
So yeah, I guess maybe that's they're not able to burden the shoulder of expectation.
Yeah. That's true. That's true. So coming back to Cristiano Ronaldo and Lionel Messi, four, no, 5 combined goals and 2 assists. 3 for Cristiano, 2 goals for Messi and 2 assists for Messi. 3 goals for Cristiano. How do you see it?
Like I said, it's I like the draw because there's a possibility of them both meeting in the finals, which would be great. Clearly, Messi had a great game, but I would say Cristiano Ronaldo's performance was slightly above higher level in this particular round because he did face, on paper, a more difficult team and in a more difficult situation.
Yeah, because they had like
2 goals down.
2 goals down.
Yeah. So
Messi had like 0-0 in the first leg
Yep.
against Lyon. Yeah. So is it too early to talk about Ballon d'Or?
Yeah, Ballon d'Or is too early to say because if Juventus don't win the Champions League, I don't think so the Serie A is enough to propel Ronaldo into Ballon d'Or conversation.
Yeah, because Messi has phenomenal stats right now for the individual.
Yes.
Like every stat you check on Twitter or anywhere, all these Opta and other who scored and all these sites, you read a comment tweet. This person has this stats only behind Messi. Like 70% of world is covered with water and other is only behind Messi. In goals, in assists, in chances created, in passing, in dribbles, in everything.
True. So yeah, it's too early to talk about Ballon d'Or. I think since we don't have a international cup this year, any international cup, the Champions
World Cup or Euro or something.
Yeah, the Champions League will have a huge factor. So I generally feel Ballon d'Or is moved too much into a highly marketing zone. It doesn't really like always credit the best player.
Yeah.
So from my perspective, I like it when there's no clear, easily identifiable winner because then people actually have to think and vote.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's very easy for people to vote. So it would be nice if neither Juventus or Barcelona win the UCL Champions League, a third team wins it, then it'll be interesting. Say like a Liverpool wins, then it'll be interesting. Do you give Salah, or let's say somebody from City? Do you give Aguero? Does he enter into the mix? So in that perspective, I feel the votes would be more divided, which it would be interesting. Just from the Ballon d'Or point of view. But if I had to choose an actual match, I would prefer to see Juve and Barca play in the finals, which is funny.
Yeah, that's interesting. I guess it's too early to talk about Ballon d'Or right now, but eventually it will be either of Messi or Ronaldo, I guess, this time, because the stats have been phenomenal, the work rate has been phenomenal, and they both have seemed to get into their clutch mode, and which is very vital. But who knows, Pogba might ends up winning the Champions League with his Manchester United with the luck of Ole, and who knows, he might even lift the Ballon d'Or. I'm just kidding right now.
I think they both will come back into the top 3 though, this time around.
They will always be in top 3. Who
Messi
was
was
in top 3 this time?
Messi wasn't there.
Wasn't fifth best player.
Messi
in
wasn't
the world.
even top 5, right?
He was the fifth best player.
Okay.
In the world. Yeah,
So I think this time they both will be in the top 3 at
Yeah.
least.
that's true. They should be. And it's funny how hardly any of the Real Madrid player will feature in World 11 right now.
Yeah, true.
That's-
But they had a bad season, so
Yeah, gave other the chance. And what about the Europa League? What do you think about Europa League? Who will win it?
I think Europa League, because of the pressure on EPL teams to, especially Arsenal and Chelsea, to be there in the Champions League next year. I don't think so. Arsenal or Chelsea will easily hit the top 4, and they would really need the money to be there in Champions League. So they will. I think they will target the Europa League. I would like to see Napoli win because I am a huge Carlo Ancelotti fan, and I think this Napoli team has done very good for far too long under Sarri without winning anything.
Yeah.
So yeah,
You know, we cannot rule out the opportunity for Valencia, who were on their way to win a double.
true.
They are going to win the Copa del Rey and the Europa League.
I think the best
And in
scenario
the
would be
Super Cup, they will face XYZ team and they'll beat them. And it's a fantastic season all of a sudden.
the weirdest scenario would be if Villarreal won the Europa League and got relegated. They're up by 1 point
cruel.
over
That's cruel, Carlos. That's cruel.
but they're only
But
up
I
by
guess
1 point.
Villarreal will take that opportunity because they'll come back to La Liga.
I wonder
of
whether
course.
like how does the rules change? Can you still play in Champions League if you're relegated? to the
That's interesting. Now I actually want it to happen. Let's go, Villarreal. Let's go. So,
You want both to happen, that they get relegated and win.
yeah, I want to see what happens in that scenario. And probably it's not an English team, so media won't hype it up enough. But yeah, those
But I
who
think,
follow it, it's up for them to follow.
I think the English teams would start to focus on this competition more and more because they have 6 good teams, but only 4 slots available for Champions League.
Yeah. Let's see. So the final question or final discussion: who do you think will be the top 4 of English Premier League this time?
I think City will win. Pool will come second. Spurs. I think Man United will come third and Spurs will come fourth.
That's interesting because I have Spurs at third and United at fourth.
I think Spurs right now are, with the Champions League and everything, they will go down, but Manchester United will somehow
It's
manage.
interesting they have to face Manchester City three times in 10 days. So
Oh, okay. So that'll be fun.
so it's better for them to lose one game in the league and then win one game in the Champions League and then draw the other game in the Champions League, and that's it. They're done. Nothing is left to win anymore.
Yep.
They can just shut down football as a game. And Arsenal or Chelsea to come 5th and 6th and to qualify for Europa. That's the prediction for.
Don't both qualify? Yeah, 5th and 6th, both qualify.
both
Yeah.
qualify, yep. That's it.
Yeah, I would say Arsenal 5th, Chelsea
And the
6th.
4th place, United will have to play in the playoffs for Champions League.
Mm.
And
Even
Who knows?
even third place team plays, right? For at least for La Liga, doesn't the third place team play?
it's like not for La Liga, but so Real Madrid will be playing in the
Yeah, I
playoffs?
think so. I think so.
Nah, I don't think it's that way. It's only the first team for the top 5 leagues, and the other leagues have like second. Like Portugal has only one or two, one team only. Yeah.
Yep.
1 or 2 teams like they have to play. Like third and fourth position have to play for the playoffs for the smaller leagues. But in the top 5 leagues, they have 3 in the Champions League, and the 4th team has to play in the playoffs.
Mm.
So, do you have any last comments?
No, but it was great fun, man.
Yeah. Thank you for being here. It was really nice, and hopefully we'll have you again
Sometime soon.
in a short while.
Yep.
So that's it from today. That's a wrap up, and see you soon.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you everyone for listening, and see you next week. Adios.